Sunday Night Football, I will have a write-up for betting-wise at actionnetwork.com. And in the app, this is a more fascinating game just because the Jets are kind of teetering on the edge. The total is 42.5. The Jets are 9.5-point home underdogs. 8:20 p.m. Eastern Sunday night on NBC. I know this is not a luck ranking play, but there's a pretty decent gap, right, between the Jets and the Chiefs. 13, I believe it is.
Yeah, and surprisingly, the Chiefs are the unlucky team. So the Jets are just as bad as you would think they are, but the Chiefs, they've been playing well. I mean, the offense only had to play 2.5 quarters to put away the Bears, so they could have piled on even more. Maybe not 70 points, but they could have piled on even more. So yeah, I was kind of shocked that this spread opened at -9. I mean, books have to just anticipate just massive amounts of Chiefs action here. I thought it was a bit low. Like, do you have any early leans on that? Because I thought that was very fishy.
Yeah, like if I was irresponsible, I would just hammer the Chiefs. But you know how this stuff goes. It's like Chiefs coming off a blowout. Jets, everyone's down on them. Jets at home, dog. Great defense. It's probably going to be a little bit of a letdown for the Chiefs. And remember that, what I keep thinking back to? Malik Willis, 27. It was like a 3-point game. The Chiefs barely eked it out when Malik Willis couldn't even throw for like 100 yards. And granted, that was Mike Vrabel. This is Salah and Hackett.
Yeah.
So not the same.
I'm just gonna stay away.
Yeah. I'll have a write up. I am thinking of attacking perhaps the Jets team total or some type of under because I do think the Chiefs defense is vastly underrated. I think the Chiefs defense has the potential to be top 5, top 6 defense this year. I mean, McDuffie's playing really well. Jones is back. They really killed that draft class last year. All these young guys, and now not only do they have quality players on this defense, but they have speed, which was if you go and let's say the Dolphins keep rolling and end up kind of entering that conversation with the Bengals and the Bills, you're gonna need speed on defense to combat the Dolphins. So I really like this Chiefs defense and what they're doing. So maybe I'll do it from that angle, but we're going in the captain spot.
Well, got to go with Travis Kelce here because apparently Taylor Swift will be in attendance again. And as we know, she loves the players and Kelce loves the game. So it's going to be in New York on prime time. The entire country will be watching, literally, including many people that have never watched an NFL game in their entire life. And they will be watching for one person only, and that's Travis Kelce. So you better bet that Kelce wants to have another big game here. I was a little bit disappointed that, the Chiefs blew out the Bears so fast because they pulled him halfway through the third quarter. He finished with 69 yards, but he was easy.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it was nice, but not good for people that took the over 71.5 yards.
Ooh,
but he was on pace to just absolutely crush that. He was going for 120 plus easily. It's one thing if Dalton Schultz wants to have a good game to impress somebody or impress, people watching. It's another thing for the best quarterback tight end duo of all time to just get the tight end some extra looks. So I think that's going to happen again here. Have to use Kelce in the captain slot. I think he's going to ball out again. Not that that's a bold call or anything, but this is the spot to play him. It's not quite the level of, Kobe Bryant's last game. In DFS, I played him everywhere, and I was shocked that not as many people did, and he just balled out. It's not quite that level. This is more like week 18 incentive, a guy needs 100 yards in week 18 to hit incentives. It's that level where I think he is going to see an extra few targets, especially, in the red zone. I think Mahomes even said that he's looking to give him extra looks with Taylor looking on. So I'm here for it. I'm down for, the Swifties watching the game, and give me all the Travis Kelce in the captain slot here.
Did I miss some TMZ news with Dalton Schultz? Is he dating somebody?
No, I'm just saying. Imagine if Dalton Schultz was in this situation. I'm just saying the talent of tight end, the gap. If Dalton Schultz really wanted to have a good game, it's different for him than like a Travis Kelce, who's already on another level. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, Travis Kelce does this. Like, he's probably the greatest tight end of all time. Dalton Schultz,
exactly.
What did he have? 4 yards last week?
Exactly. That just proved my point.
Like
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you got in the outline before me, so you got Kelce.
Yes.
There's not that many options I want to go with in the captain spot, so I got to go with Mahomes because this Jets defense is, their numbers aren't great, but if you look at the way they've been getting beat, it's, teams going to their a target who can win, one-on-one against, some of these high quality coverage players. So in week 1, and obviously the Bills didn't win, but Stephon Diggs caught 10 passes for $102, and then CeeDee Lamb went off in week 2. So, Mahomes and Kelce, I think this is, it's going to be force feeding, and then Taylor Swift just kind of adds to it with the narrative. So, I don't doubt that Andy Reid will be able to scheme up, other guys to get open, but I don't know who. So that's why if I'm not going Kelce, it's going to be Mahomes in the captain spot, because all these receivers are so cheap that you can still, stack as you wish. But it's got to be, either Mahomes or Kelce, I think, or I think there's one other guy or a couple other guys, but I'll talk about. But Mahomes has been so consistent, even against, it doesn't really matter the defense. He's had since he lost Tyreek Hill, he's played 20 games in the regular season. He's had 20 or more DraftKings points in 16 of those 20 games with a low of 15. So the other 4, when he didn't hit 20, he's still between 15 and 19.99. So, I mean, he's not gonna kill you unless he gets hurt, and he was a little hobbled. That's probably why they pulled everybody too. But he said he's fine. That if you're doing 150 lineups, maybe you get some Gabbard in there or something like that, just in case. But I got to go with Mahomes. And Jets early in the year, just their pass defense 24th in DVOA. Now it's a small sample, but just showing it's been beatable when you have a guy like a number 1 guy like a Kelce. So it's Mahomes or Kelce or nothing for me really. Okay, who you like for values?
So I'll take a stab on another Chiefs receiver that might step up, that they could scheme open with, extra coverage on Kelce potentially, and it's Rashee Rice. And I mentioned, we could be seeing his breakout happening right now because last week was the first time he cleared 50% routes run rate with 51%. And that was due to, Richie James is on IR. Kadarius Toney's banged up. He's probably still banged up. So I think Rice's playing time could continue to climb. And he's now seen a 30% or more target rate in all 3 games. So when he's on the field, Mahomes is looking for him. So, like I said, this is a player where, the Jets might put extra resources trying to slow down Kelce. Could leave someone like Rice wide open. He's been producing so far this year. So I like investing in him here. And then on the Jet side, have to go with Breece Hall because he's also seeing his usage start to go way up. I mean, we kind of figured he would start slow. He is coming back from his ACL tear. And they brought in Dalvin Cook, who hasn't been playing that well. But Breece saw 54% of the rush attempts last week. His routes run rate are going up. That's only going to continue. And he's maybe the one person in the Jets offense, Zach Wilson, can't specifically hold him back. So
that's the offensive line's job.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Breece Hall, of all the Jets players, he's the one I'd bet on talent-wise. And just due to his increase in usage coming up. And he's only going to get healthier. That's why his usage is going up. So, I'm going to go with Breece Hall here for the Jets side.
31% of the offensive snaps in week 1, 34% in week 2, 49% in week 3. So, trending up. But this, I think, just going back to like our offseason work, I think this is one of our best handicaps, kind of talking about Breece Hall and like, if he doesn't break the big run, which he did in week 1, I think he had 2 big runs.
Yeah.
But and nothing else. Like week 2, 4 carries for 9 yards. Week 3, 12 for 18. Like this is gonna be the reality, I think, for Breece Hall. And even though he's trending up, like it still looks like Michael Carter is mixing in as like that third down, hurry up, receiving back, at least for now. So, I mean, I still don't know if you're gonna, if anyone who drafted Hall, like, in that top 20-ish range is gonna see the ROI. And Dalvin Cook also doesn't look like you're gonna get it with him either. So yeah, it's this is devolving really quickly on this.
How do you think my Breece Hall under, what was it, 900 rushing yards from Convince Me is that looking like okay now? Because after week 1 it looked toast.
Oh yeah, it's like I think because number one, I think there's going to be more games like this. Dwayne Brown is on IR, and you could just stack the box with Zach Wilson. Or
I just think once Aaron Rodgers went down, even after that 127-yard game in week 1, like it was doomed for him. He's got to play all 17 games. He's at 154 after 3 games.
I'm going under. I'd still bet.
Okay, okay.
Like this reminds me of. I think we both bet Cam Akers under like 900 total scrimmage yards last year.
I did rush yards. You did combined yards.
Okay, yeah, and like in my head, like I was having a great season. Like I just chalked that up to a loss. Like I didn't even check it. Like I was just like, I guess I lost that one, but you can't win them all. And then all of a sudden I get a notification and I see it, and I'm like, wait, that hit? Like so like it that's why we bet unders on a lot of these preseason props, because it takes a lot for most of these. And the ones that like are the easy overs, usually the books just aren't posting lines for those guys. Like, I wish I saw like a Tank Dell line or something like that, but I don't remember seeing one. So rule of thumb, go under.
I always say, like, instead of investing in like an over, like on the median for the season long props, just take advantage of those like season leaders. Like you took like Dave Montgomery to lead the league in touchdowns, things like that. Just get like 20 to 1 or greater odds. Things like that is better than taking the over on the median play, just because like there's so many outs for the under to hit. You might as well just go for their ceiling and lead the league in whatever stat you're thinking they're going to be good in.
And you can also just go like week to week, just bet their overs. Like
true.
The book, like I bet Tank Dell's over. I think it was week 2, and I'm mad I didn't go back and do it again the next week, because he's been going up at Laporta, the same thing. Like this is the time when like the lines are going to be off as guys establish themselves, and kind of break out. So be on the lookout for rookies like Rashee Rice. I think that was a good call. And a guy that maybe you want to invest in a prop or something like that in addition to DFS. So let's see, who do I got? Okay, yeah. So for the Chiefs, so for my for my value plays, I know the Jets they've been somehow worse against the pass, but I did read something from the beat that essentially said the Chiefs are making a more concerted effort these days to involve their running backs early in games. And they feel like, with the way defenses are playing them and, all the zones and kind of, defending the pass, that they feel like they can get contributions from all 3 of these running backs on the ground and through the air. And they were actually aiming for that hat trick, which was all 3 of them to score a touchdown last week, and they got it. So I think that's something to kind of watch for going forward. So Pacheco, I like him this week. The Jets are allowing 35 touches per game to opposing backfields. Now, it hasn't been all that efficient, but especially on a team like the Chiefs, you're usually not getting 35. You're lucky if you get half that sometimes with these running backs. But I do think you'll see these running backs more involved here, especially, Mahomes did mess up his ankle a little bit. So I think in a game like this against Zach Wilson, it makes sense to roll with Pacheco early. He's been more of a factor in the pass game of late, which is a positive sign. He's running a route on a higher percentage of dropbacks than Jarrett McKinnon, which, McKinnon, I think, got 2 touchdowns on 4 touches. So, right back to doing what he did last year, but obviously that's going to be unsustainable. But I think Pacheco is a guy who, obviously the most talented guy in their backfield. And I think, he could get some volume here. And I'm not really concerned about the matchup because I think he has enough talent, especially with, defense is worried about Mahomes to make things happen. So I like him. And then the Chiefs defense, like I'm not even gonna like, obviously you could go with, Garrett Wilson or somebody like that, but I really think the Chiefs defense is excellent. So I'm going to just go with the Chiefs defense here. The Jets, 10 points in each of the last 2 weeks. They needed a kick return touchdown to get into the 20s, to get to 22 in week 1. Kansas City has allowed 10 or fewer points in each of the last 2. And then Detroit, remember, needed that interception return to get into the 20s. So Kansas City would have allowed 14, 10, 14, 9, 10 in their 3 games, if not for that ball carries Tony put right in the hands of Brian Branch. Zach Wilson. He's been sacked 3 times in each of the past 2 games. In his last 9 starts, he's been sacked 26 times. He's thrown 9 picks. The Jets are averaging 13 points per game, and they've committed 12 total turnovers. Kansas City's blitzing at the 6th highest rate, and Wilson, as you might expect, grades out at PFF 3rd worst among qualified quarterbacks against the blitz. Mentioned McDuffie playing really well, and then Aljaria Sneed is a very good cornerback as well. So I don't just think Garrett Wilson, that is just going to get loose here. Love the Chiefs, and you always get the bonus of they tend to have good special teams, and you can always count on them breaking a long return or doing something tricky in that aspect. So that's another bonus. So like the Chiefs, you could stack them with Pacheco, or you could stack them with another back who I'll get to in the dart throws. But not even going with any Jets here. Just give me Pacheco and give me the Chiefs.
And if you want to do the double dip, Chiefs defense and the returner, they just brought in Montrell Washington.
I liked him last year. I can't believe he fell out of favor so fast. But the Broncos were down like 7 receivers, and he still couldn't become like the number 3 receiver. So maybe with new scenery, I don't think he'll be in the receiver rotation this week, but he'll definitely be their kick and punt returner, right? Like I don't think they're gonna have Tony. Maybe they could have Tony because like we talked about this, and I don't know which way it's going to go, but I just have the sense that like they don't really need Tony as a receiver, and I don't think like you want to rely on him week to week because he gets hurt so much. But like as a returner, it's kind of perfect because like when he's healthy, you can just put him back there and way to get the ball in his hands. I was at that Super Bowl where he was like, I think that's his ideal role. So I don't know. That's just me guessing, but I have a feeling that Tony's not going to be like a full-time wide receiver going forward.
Right. But I think they brought in Washington specifically to return this week. So just keep an eye on for a showdown slate.
Oh, no, absolutely. He's as long as he's active, he's definitely in play. All right, where are you going for your dart throws?
Oh God, the Jets side is just, I guess they're all dart throws, but I'll go way down and let's go with Randall Cobb. He's running a route on over 80% of Wilson's dropbacks, but only saying, yeah.
Is he?
Yes.
Wait, Randall Cobb is on this team?
Yeah.
How many? He's running 67 routes. How many catches does he have?
I don't know. Is it over 1.5? It's
no, it's 1. 1 catch, 1 drop. Yeah, no, it's the Jets are just a shit show. But no, I get it. Yeah, he ran around at 85%. So I guess.
Yeah, no, well, I'm surprised we haven't seen Mecole Hardman. Where the hell is he? So okay. Until he gets involved more, Cobb seems like the clear number 3 receiver. I won't have many shares of Randall Cobb, but he is worth at least a dart throw if he's running a route over 80% of the time. But let's get to my favorite play. Favorite dart throw would be Justin Watson. He's settled in, right around a 50% route run rate. And he doesn't see many targets because he's typically just running downfield. But when he does see a target, oh my God, it's way downfield. His ADOT is 23.5 yards this year, which is about what I would expect, honestly. And yes, the Jets have an elite secondary, and yes, they're tough downfield, but this is a 1-game slate, so we can't be picky here. And there's a chance we just see the Jets not giving max effort going forward, just because they have some team chemistry issues, a lot of things going on there. So I wouldn't be shocked if Justin Watson catches 1-2 long balls here. So he's absolutely worth a flyer and a showdown slate.
Yeah, Justin Watson is tied for 9th in the NFL in targets 20 or more yards downfield with 6. He's tied with DJ Moore. Only 8 players have more targets 20 yards downfield than Justin Watson. And I think he's like another one of those guys that's like the thorn in every fantasy. If you're just like a regular fantasy player and you don't do much DFS or anything, like because everyone was kind of banking on Tony, and then it was Sky Moore, and Watson is just every week 50%.
I call it the Zach Pascal role. I think that's what I've dubbed it.
He's better than Zach Pascal as a receiver. That is.
But yeah, the guy like I think it was the Colts. I forgot. But yeah, just the guy that we always think guys are going to break out, and then Zach Pascal is actually the leading receiver. But that's him, and yeah, he's seeing a ton of downfield targets, and they're not from like Desmond Ridder; they're from Patrick Mahomes. So that's why they're even more valuable. And yeah, like would I love to see other receivers maybe running more routes? Yes, but Watson's running these routes. We have to take him seriously at this point. And Mahomes likes targeting him downfield. So especially in these single game slates, he's the type of play you need to have out there.
Yeah, I mean, when I watch the Chiefs, to me, and this is probably speaks to why he gets, why he's has a role. He, to me, looks like what they wanted Marquez Valdez-Scantling to be, right?
Yeah.
I mean, MVS is really kind of, he's there, but I feel like he's not doing as much downfield as you would have thought. He's obviously, kind of there now for his veteran leadership. I heard him giving tips to, he tipped Rashee Rice off to a coverage, and Rice got open and he always scored a touchdown. So MVS is doing a lot of leadership things, but I feel like Watson is kind of taking the role they probably envisioned MVS filling. So yeah, that's definitely something. If he already has 2 targets per game down deep through 3 games, that is definitely someone to pay attention to. I mean, even if you're in a deep fantasy league, I might just stash him if I had some room at the end of my bench, just because bye weeks are coming up and you could do worse than have a deep couple deep shots from Patrick Mahomes every game. And if anyone gets hurt, he might end up starting really going into a starting role. So yeah, love that call on Watson. So for me, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. This is a perfect spot for him. He's essentially their closer in blowouts. We saw that last week. I think he got the last 11 carries. Something. I think it was double digits. Pretty much the whole fourth quarter was the Clyde Edwards-Helaire show, and he's now up to 8.7 touches per game. And he's been involved a little bit. In week 1, I think he started or something like that. So one of these backfields you can't fully predict, but I know they're trying to involve the running backs. I know this is a game where they don't feel like they're gonna have to take a ton of risks. So I do think that Edwards-Helaire is gonna get work again, and low key, he's kind of McKinnon. I guess probably ends up playing more snaps, but from a fantasy perspective, I actually have Edwards-Helaire projected a spot or 2 above McKinnon now. Because McKinnon's really not getting many carries. So he's essentially pass blocking and running a few routes. And if he doesn't catch touchdowns on his 2 catches, Edwards-Helaire probably is going to outscore him in a lot of weeks. He's as the backup to Pacheco and just kind of the change of pace. So Edwards-Helaire this week. And then I'm going to go with take a risk here and go with Mecole Hardman for the Jets. And this is just completely a projection, but there's a few things going why I think that this could hit. Number 1, obviously, revenge game. So maybe they finally, get him on the field. Every week after the game, the media has been asking, why hasn't Hardman played more? Why hasn't Hardman played more? Right. They've said, we didn't get to the packages, but we do want, his speed on the field, this and that, just kind of excuses. But after last week's showing, I don't think you have any excuses. I think you have to at least give him a shot. And, it's his former team, but you really need to manufacture offense. And I believe it was Saleh who said he particularly specifically mentioned like jet sweeps and things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if Hardman gets a carry or two, a design target or two. He only been playing about 15% of the time. So, this is a projection, but he did play his most snaps 2 weeks ago in the blowout against Dallas. And this is kind of shaping up potentially like a similar script, but even if the Jets keep it close, I think they need to involve Hardman for his speed. And that's kind of why I'm a little worried about a guy like Cobb, just because he's been so unproductive and he obviously not as explosive anymore. So yeah, he's been the guy on the field and that's what counts. But as far as like, a tournament or something like that, I'm going to go Hardman all day and just, hope everyone looks at his game logs and see. Well, I mean, I guess everyone on the Jets, the game logs are pretty blank. But this is kind of the spot where like it's probably not happening for Hardman at all if it's not happening here.
Right.
And they gave him a $4 million contract. So I don't know if there's like a disconnect between the coaching staff and the front office. I don't know if there's something going on behind the scenes, like Cam Akers because it really doesn't make sense with a team in this dire need of any type of explosiveness would be, kind of just sitting on Hardman and leaving him on the sideline. So, I'm going with Hardman as a dart throw for the Chiefs. And another guy I'll mention, because in the same breath that the Jets coaching staff mentioned Hardman, they also mentioned Xavier Gipson, who had the punt return, and Gipson has not run a single route yet. So he's another guy who I think may get on the field just because there's no excuse anymore. Like, you need these guys and their explosiveness, but also it's the Chiefs, so they could just blow them out like 40-0 again, like the Bears, and then you might just see Hardman and Gipson get like the entire fourth quarter or something. So right. I like both of those guys, but yeah, I'm dumpster diving with these.
Yeah, no
with
kidding.
I mean, we all are. I mean,
everybody is.
Late, but yeah.
They haven't mentioned Jason Brownlee or anything like that because he absolutely tore up camp preseason. He was a stud, but he's still number 6. Either way, they got to get Randall Cobb out there, like out of there. Like,
I mean, he's not like Rodgers.
Why have Cobb running 80% of the routes? I don't get it.
Like Cobb should be the guy that, like, when Wilson takes a blow, Cobb is giving him pointers on the coverages, and when Hardman's about to check in, you're like, Cobb is the veteran leader. Like, that's what he's supposed to be doing. Like, he doesn't need to be running a route 85% of the time. Like,
no, he doesn't.
Like, but again, this is Zach Wilson, coached by Nathaniel Hackett. So, like, what do you really expect? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
What do you expect?